discuss some clinical cases and try to remove some misconceptions that are there in the management of nephrotic syndrome. So let us first discuss the first case and discuss what are the pitfalls in diagnosis in this case. So this is a child who presented with edema and nephrotic range proteinuria. So he was on this basis, he was diagnosed as nephrotic syndrome and he was started on prednisolone at 2 milligram per kg per day. However, he developed generalized tonic-clonic seizures after 3 days. At that time, he was referred to us. So if you see what are the things that were missed. So when we took the history and did the examination, these are the things that we found were missed by the treating physician who first encountered the child. So there was hypertension. In fact, there was stage 2 hypertension. There was acute kidney injury. Renal dysfunction also was there, which was not checked and it was missed. And there was gross and microscopic hematuria. Surprisingly, this history was also missed. Whether it was not asked or whether the parents did not notice it is little surprising, but it was also missed. So what is it? What are we dealing with? Is it nephrotic syndrome? Is it nephritic syndrome? Or the child has both? So if we see in glomerular diseases in children or in adults, it ranges between two syndromes. It's nephrotic syndrome and nephritic syndrome. There is a spectrum of this. Some diseases fall under the nephrotic syndrome, some diseases present in the nephritic syndrome. So if you see that the most common or the most prominent manifestation in nephrotic syndrome is the edema. Very few have hypertension, around 10%, and less than hypertension, also hematuria. So if you see if the child presents with only edema, there is no hypertension or hematuria at the time of presentation, then probably it is nephrotic syndrome and it is due to the proteinuria. Whether if the predominant symptom of manifestation is hematuria, gross or microscopic hematuria, also significant percentage of them have hypertension, very few have edema, and they can have azotemia. Then we call it as nephritic syndrome. So why to distinguish this between these? Because the etiologies are different, the pathology is different. In nephrotic syndrome, there is no inflammation, whereas in nephritic syndrome, there is glomerulonephritis or inflammation of the glomerulus. So the diseases present with nephrotic syndrome, they are usually called podocytopathy or diseases that cause injury of the podocytes or dysfunction of the podocyte. They don't have inflammation. They cause only selective proteinuria or albuminuria and present as edema, nephrotic range proteinuria and edema. That we label as nephrotic syndrome. Whereas the diseases that cause glomerulonephritis, the most predominant manifestation is hematuria, and we call it as nephritic syndrome. So this table differentiates between the two, whatever we talked. So if we see the edema is the most predominant manifestation in nephrotic syndrome, there is oliguria in both of nephritic syndrome and nephrotic syndrome. However, in case of nephrotic syndrome, the oliguria follows edema. So initially there is edema and then oliguria. Whereas in nephritic syndrome, edema happens after oliguria. So it is due to the fluid overload state or sodium and water retention that cause edema due to decreased GFR in case of nephritic syndrome. In nephrotic syndrome, there is decreased GFR, but that doesn't lead to sodium overload or water overload. It is the nephrotic syndrome per se that causes edema. So you have nephrotic range proteinuria, hypoalbuminemia, and when you do a histopathology, they have non-proliferative glomerulonephritis. Non-proliferative glomerulonephritis means there are three kinds of cells in the glomerulus: the endothelial cell, the mesangial cell, and the epithelial podocytes and parietal epithelial cells. Any of the cells that proliferates lead to proliferative glomerulonephritis. So in case of nephrotic syndrome, as there is no glomerulonephritis or no inflammation, there is no proliferation of cells. So histopathology, you will get like minimal change or a FSGS. Whereas if we come to the other part of the spectrum, that is nephritic syndrome, the predominant manifestation is the gross hematuria and hypertension. As part of severe hypertension, they can have seizures, they can have pulmonary edema and present to us. However, the proteinuria is not in the nephrotic range. They have non-nephrotic range proteinuria, and hypoalbuminemia is typically absent. In case of nephrotic syndrome, edema is generalized edema, very prominent, whereas in nephritic syndrome, they don't have usually generalized edema, or they don't have scrotal swelling, they don't have abdominal distension or parietal edema, they can have minimal edema. And if you do histopathology, you will see endocapillary proliferative glomerulonephritis. So what are the diseases that present as nephrotic syndrome and those present as nephritic syndrome? If we see the nephrotic syndrome, the etiologies are non-proliferative glomerulonephritis like minimal change disease or a minimal change disease, FSGS or membranous nephropathy. So these three are the most common cause of nephrotic syndrome. Whereas if you come to this side of the spectrum, you have proliferative glomerulonephritis. So you have diseases like post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, vasculitis, membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis, IgA nephropathy, etc. And there are some diseases like lupus nephritis and IgA nephropathy. They can present both as nephrotic and nephritic syndrome. So what I want to say that the diseases that can have a nephritic kind of presentation also sometimes may have nephrotic range proteinuria and hypoalbuminemia. So they will fit nephrotic syndrome, but the atypical features is that they have gross hematuria or hypertension that fits into glomerulonephritis. So final diagnosis in this case is acute nephritic syndrome, hypertensive encephalopathy, and acute kidney injury. So if you see that the blood pressure was not measured in that child and it was missed. So importance of checking blood pressure is very important, even if it takes time and it is very cumbersome. The seizure happened because probably he was hypertensive itself at the time of presentation, and on the top of that, steroids were started that got aggravation of or exacerbation of the hypertension, and the child landed in a hypertensive encephalopathy. So the lessons learned are, please always try to make a differentiation between nephrotic versus nephritic presentation in an edematous child from the beginning itself. Measure BP even if however cumbersome it may be, and always look at the urine yourself. If you look at the urine yourself, then you might uncover that he is having gross hematuria that might have been missed by the parents or missed by the child, and you discover that the child has gross hematuria. And please don't be in a hurry to start steroid. At least try to rule out there is no nephritic syndrome. And if you are convinced that there is only nephrotic range proteinuria and edema, then probably we are dealing with nephrotic syndrome and start steroids. If you feel there could be nephritic syndrome, like if there is gross hematuria or significant hematuria, if there is hypertension, then probably you are dealing with acute nephritic syndrome. Then you have to investigate further for the etiology of the acute nephritic syndrome, because the treatments are different. In those cases, you may have to send complement levels and find out what are the complement levels, and then proceed for management. If there is no symptoms of nephritic syndrome, then probably we can start steroids. So don't be in a hurry to